Imagine leaving a space you understand, a space of certainty, your comfort zone basically, into something different, into something you still don't understand yet. That was exactly what I did. Last year, I left Nigeria with a BA in History and International Studies to study a master's program in accounting and financial management. That was one of the craziest decisions I've ever made in my entire life. So this episode is just going to take us through my learning journey, how it went, what struggles I faced, just everything into this piece of podcast. Welcome to a new episode on Conversation with Mina, where I take you along on my learning journey into building with AI ethics and frameworks. But there is a twist here. So over the week, I was just trying to understand what this podcast is going to be known for in the long run. I wanted to understand who the target audience were going to be, just a lot of research and restructuring. And I've come to understand that it's not just going to be about AI, but what AI can actually do in the lives of some certain audience and how they can create better opportunities with the use of AI and other technologies. And that is why I am going to read you this introduction. So welcome to a new episode on Conversation with Mina, where I am going to be researching, learning, and sharing how immigrants and entrepreneurs can use AI responsibly to make better decisions, build better lives, and create opportunities for themselves. Starting with my decision to come to the UK. Next week is going to be my graduation, and I was just reflecting what I have done, how much I have come, and to be honest, I think I have achieved a lot more than I thought I would achieve in the midst of 1 year. So back in 2023, I made the decision to go for my master's. It didn't just start by, I'm just going to travel to the UK. I wasn't going to do that. I thought, I just want to stay in Nigeria as a good Nigerian. I'm still a good Nigerian citizen. It's just that I wanted something much more. And I started with taking a lot of courses on data analysis. I did some courses on SEO, digital marketing, towards that. And then I think at a point I started doing some courses on UI UX. Now, funny enough is these courses were going to help me in the long run, and it's still helping me now. But then I kept on meeting a dead end, because for me, I get tired and bored easily, especially when there is no goal. If I'm just studying, if I'm doing something, if I am learning a new skill, I want to know what exactly am I going to be using this skill for. But as at then, it didn't just look like it. It felt like I was doing so many things at the same time without a direction. There came a time I also decided, okay, I was going to go into banking. I am that crazy at times, especially when I become relentless. I want to do something different from the norm. I love to challenge myself, even though I do it in fear most of the time. I do it in fear. I do it afraid. I do it with, oh my God, what would people say about me? Yes, I used to want people to validate my ideas, which I am learning to dismiss gradually. Anyways, back into 2023, I then decided it was my MBA I was going to do next. Then I started researching. I made my research. MBA, okay, so after an MBA, do I want to go back into business? Because I've always done a lot of business back in undergraduates in Nigeria, and it still did not click. An MBA, So from there, I started researching what other course can I even do, because if I'm going to go for an MBA, that means I was going to spend an extra year in foundation, like a foundational year, and I that was like 2 to 3 years. And I was in Abuja. The schools that were offering it were in other states. I didn't have the luxury of time and money for that, the budget for that. And then the idea came to move abroad. Of course, I prayed about it. I wanted, divine leading, of course. And then it started again. What course am I going to go for? What am I going to do? Am I just going to get there and start doing what course exactly? I needed something that would challenge me and give me a direct leading into a future goal. And there came psychology. Okay, I could be counseling, I could become a therapist. Just looking back now, I'm like, do I really want to sit down and be counseling people? I don't think I have that energy to listen through, and I'm a very emotional person, so maybe I'll just cry along with people that I'm trying to counsel. But that idea didn't go through. But I found something that helped me. It was the conversion course. Yes, that is what it's called, a conversion course. Those are the courses that enable you to take other courses or a master's degree and without a prior experience in those particular degree, if you understand what I mean. So as an history student, I could apply for psychology, for instance, because it's just going to help me. It's going to have the foundation, everything that we need for a master's degree, so I don't have to do a foundation yet. That is what conversion course basically is. After a while, I continued with my research, and then I found data analysis. Because I've had like a prior skill in data analysis, I was already learning it. I thought it was a good one to just expand more on it, but still, my mind was wrong with it. Then I finally got one that I thought now I can go for it, and that was accounting and financial management. So before now, I was already doing a little bit of accounting in the background, and at work we were making use of budgets, just little things like that. And I thought, okay, maybe I could challenge my mathematical sense, my intellect to that extent. I applied. After 2 years of my research, I applied and got to the UK, and it was time to start attending lectures. I think my first trimester, I had 2 courses, and that was postgraduate research and a corporate valuation course. I enjoyed it because it was like I had basic understanding on accounting, and then over the weeks it kept on compounding. There were more accounting to be done, and for me, I think because I came from a research background, I always want to know the nitty-gritty of every single thing. How did this formula? Why are we doing this? Why are we merging? What is mergers and acquisition? Where did it come from? I was trying to understand these things, and it was not so easy because with the recommended textbooks, I was starting from the chapter 1 of the chapter 1. I went through those chapters bit by bit. At the point, I think I started sleeping by 4 a.m. because when my colleagues or my classmates were already going through it, because some of them or most of them were accounting students, I was trying to understand the foundation. Yes. And then, to be honest, it was not easy. It was not an easy step. It was not an easy moment in my life. I think there was a time I started crying because when it comes to coursework, you had to present your evidence. You can't just say you got 1 + 1 = 2. How did you get it? I had to fall in love with Excel. Now I can relate to what my pastor used to say back then in Abuja, opposed to Femi Lazarus. This was not how he said it, but he said something relating to he had to love his mathematics teacher to understand mathematics. He had to keep on saying it to himself. I love this person to understand mathematics. Because if you keep saying you don't love a particular thing, trust me, I think you will have so much hatred for that thing, and you will miss everything altogether on what you're supposed to learn. So I sat down with Excel and I started saying, I love you, I will understand you, and I'm going to make use of you. Then Excel became my favorite tool during this period last year. I made use of Excel, and then came ChatGPT. So ChatGPT was my assistant. It's still my assistant though. I made use of ChatGPT to the extent that I paid for an upgrade. So unlike me. So this was not me paying for ChatGPT, for an AI tool. ChatGPT was my second lecturer. I would sit down with ChatGPT. ChatGPT was going to break what that one thing was. So I won't just say, 2 + 2 = 4. Where did these 2 come from? ChatGPT already understood me, and then we kept on going over and over. So instead of me just going through the course of myself, it gave me scenarios to practice with. So it was like a tutor to me. And to be honest, I love the fact that I made an upgrade with ChatGPT. This is not promoting any tool at the moment. It could be any tool. People could use any form of tool to help them. I'm just trying to, bring that learning experience I had to just encourage someone. If you need to pay for an upgrade, if you need to make use of available tools, please use it. But you have to use it responsibly. I am always an ethics person, a moral person. I think one of those courses we did was on risk management, and I'm not saying I'm perfect or judgmental, but I feel like if something needs to be done, it needs to be done right, and it needs to be done well. It's not just about you at that point, at that moment. What about others coming? What kind of process are you going to give to them? What kind of advice are you going to give to those people coming? How would you advise them to use a particular thing to get a particular result? I was just about that. And in that risk management course, we're talking, was it risk management or corporate finance? One of those courses we're talking about taxation, just a lot of topic at this point, and sustainability, sustainable goals. So I was always on the ethics part. What are you giving back to the society? Cliche, right? Don't judge me. Anyways, ChatGPT became my best friend. It was not helping me to write my coursework. Let us get that right. It was not helping me to write my exams. well, I can't even write my exam, but what I'm trying to say is it was not helping me write these things. It was teaching me how to do it. It was lecturing me, tutoring me to become better. And I became a top achiever in my first trimester in a corporate finance and valuation module. And yeah, that's something for me. Thank you. And it really encouraged me that, oh, so my effort was not going in vain. This was something I was putting so much effort to the extent that I was seeing formulas in my head. I had exams and I could repeat the formulas in my head from my sleep, in my dreams. It was not easy. They will say in my country, it's not beans at all. But I went through that skill and God was really faithful. I went through it. I finished. Sometimes I cried. Sometimes I slept really late because it felt like I was behind. Yes, I think that was one of the challenges. The fact that we'll come to the lecture hall and everybody's talking about, oh, how far they've gone in their coursework, especially. Honestly, it was not funny because when others are on chapter 2 or chapter 3 and I was still making research on chapter 1, I was walking slow. And I was not catching up so fast, especially during my dissertation period in my last trimester. It was on corporate, no, it was not corporate, it was on investment analysis. Yes, investment analysis. So because I loved investment as a course, I took my time, but I didn't know that I was taking extra time that I had. I didn't have that time, but I thought I had the time. I was slowly reading those textbooks, say, oh, I've read this textbook, but it was not efficient. I didn't know that I was not in history anymore. I was not studying history anymore. In history and international studies, with the little I remember back in school, you have to read a lot. You have to memorize a lot of years, what happened in a particular place, why did it happen, causations, outcome. There were a lot of things you had to know in history. So I was using that same brain in accounting and finance. Every other person was moving with their calculations, they were, but I was still researching. This was not a research course, but it was hard getting myself out of that research course into being an accounting student. But like I mentioned, I went through it. I am sharing this here because I thought, why not? My podcast is about using AI, right? Using AI responsibly. And apart from that, it's just a way on reflecting where I am coming from, where I came from, where I am at the moment. Of course, I'm done. I'm no more a student. With my past experience, just to encourage someone out there, don't give up. You can always switch. You can always, if it's just your career, you want to switch your career, you want to go into a new career, you can do anything as long as you put your mind to it. I'm not being a motivational speaker right now. I'm just saying I have tried it, I have tested it. The journey is not so smooth, but if you persevere, you will learn successfully. It's not too late. Well, it's actually not too late. There are some things you can't still do. You can't become a footballer at 40, like they say. But I'm trying to say that there are still some realistic goals, right? There are still some realistic things you can do. It doesn't matter what your age is. You just need the right information. You need the right tools to help you. Make use of tools. Make use of everything at your disposal. Don't listen, ask for advice, because there's this particular friend of mine, Maureen. We always argue in class on calculations, and she's always there to provide guidance to me. She has been an accounting student right from Nigeria and then come to the UK, so she understood much more than I did, and she was always there to help me. The lecturers were also helpful as well. But what I'm trying to say is, go ahead, make your research, seek for advice, reasonable advice. Start afraid. Yes, I started this podcast afraid, and I'm encouraging you, start afraid. It is not going to be easy to be consistent, but yes. This is the end of the episode. I just wanted to encourage someone, and I was just reflecting. Yay! My graduation is next week, and I became a master's holder in accounting and financial management with a distinction. Not your mates. With a distinction. Hallelujah, somebody. Anyways, thank you for staying. Thank you for watching. I would please like you to share with friends, with family. Follow. There's so much to come. I keep on evolving, researching, and just trying to be the best version of myself, and not just put it there, but put it out there, share with you all, encourage you all, answer questions when necessary, and that's it. Thank you, and bye bye.